You're listening to SM Media, the #1 place for exclusive content.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Scottish Football Show right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike, delighted to be your host as always, joined by Shankers as always. Shankers, what's happening?
Nothing's fresh, just watching the Rangers plodding on again.
Wilson's here as well. What's happening this week?
Oh, well, great result for Kelly yesterday. Superb. And then a wee Only Fools and Horses afternoon today to watch. For a great Sunday.
Brilliant. We've got a very special guest. We've got the current manager of Rossvale, David Gormley. Pleasure to have you on, David. Thanks for joining us.
No problem at all. Thanks for having us on.
No worries. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good. Oh, good. Even better after the result today. So I'm good mood today.
Brilliant. We'll start off with the breaking story. We've got obviously we'll take this with a pinch of salt because we don't know the full details yet. But Celtic have published on their social media pages that a player has tested positive for COVID-19. Wilson, the Dubai trip, what does it say now, looking back? What do we think now about the planned Dubai trip that has now been a disaster?
I think from the Old Firm defeat in October, the whole club's been a disaster, to be honest. And it's just, this, again, I'll be 100% honest. I could have understood. Right. Now, I know it was okayed by the Scottish Government, allegedly, the SFA allegedly, they were allowed to go. And I could totally have understood this trip if Celtic had been in Rangers' position and it was 20 points clear, they were going for some warm weather training, a bit of bonding, you know, they'd already won the kind of delayed Scottish Cup and that, and I genuinely didn't have a problem with the trip if that had been the case. And again, and I know you shouldn't possibly read a lot of the stuff on social media, but when any team is going there, you know, 20 points behind, mistake after mistake in terms of what pictures were shown on social media about social distancing, etc., you know, having a bit of a jolly straight happening 24 hours after an Old Firm defeat, which some folks saw as the last straw in terms of the league race. I found it quite bizarre that even when it was a kind of old stereotypical one you see a lot at Christmas time, you know, just say for example Chelsea lose on the 19th of December, you know, and Frank Lampard cancels the Christmas night out, you know, that's what I think should have happened. You know, if I'd have been Celtic after that Old Firm defeat again in January, I went, guys, this is ridiculous, and it should be based on the football. In the middle of a global pandemic, it just didn't make more sense. And I'm actually quite surprised a lot of players didn't stand up and say, well, you know, I've got a wife and 2 kids. Yeah. You know, I know they're in certain bubbles as such, but the Celtic bubble going on a plane, I mean, there must have been a minimum of, 35, 40 folk there, including physios and nutritionists and all the bits and bobs that you take. So I find it very bizarre, and I'm absolutely stunned, to be honest, that only one person has tested positive. Now, again, all you're going to see in social media is when he caught it, where he caught it, etc., and that's the thing. But, you know, somebody's made a good point earlier on, you know, who was he sitting beside on the plane? You know, who did he have his dinner with on, you know, what day is today? Sunday. Who did he have his dinner with on Friday night, or his breakfast on Thursday morning? You know, you're going to have to trace all these things back, but I'd be amazed if anyone in the Celtic camp thought we'll be able to go to Dubai for 5 or 6 days and come back clean. It baffles me, to be honest.
David, what's your thoughts on it?
Similar to what Wilson said, to be honest. I think it was a mistake for them. I think they realised that probably when they were over there, that it was a mistake going. And John Kennedy's comments yesterday, I think, were a bit baffling as well. Yeah. He's obviously said there have been minor slips and over there, so aye, it's a bit baffling, and you wouldn't be able to get a bet on somebody catching COVID, to be honest. One of them, it's always going to happen. It's just, I don't know. It just continues a laughing stock of Scottish football, to be honest, right now.
Shankers, anything to add about it?
No, it's what they said. It didn't look good for the outright for them going away as well, and the fact that a player's tested positive coming back, it just kind of piles on a kind of disastrous spell for them now. But the thing that it's not just Celtic it's bad for, it doesn't look good for everybody now in the league. There's pressure on players to kind of be aware of restrictions and abide by them and all that. And if somebody tests positive, it doesn't look good for the whole league. See, somebody tests positive a day before Celtic's got a game tomorrow. I get that players have tested negative, but they could test them in 2 or 3 days, and somebody comes back positive, and they've played in the game yet on Monday night, like tomorrow night. It just doesn't look good at all. Not just, as I said, not just for Celtic, but for everybody. If say Thursday they do a run of tests and somebody that's played tomorrow night test positive, it just doesn't look good at all, and it's just been a disaster for the get go for them. But fingers crossed, nobody else tests positive for the sake of the Scottish game, and it can just go on as normal.
I've said on here before, Shankers, as well. We've discussed this. St Mirren and Kilmarnock were punished. Now again, I know they've kind of taken the points off, etc., and went back to it. And I said this for the get go. If this happens to Celtic or Rangers, you'll soon see a change in the legislation. Because can you see? I mean, the league's done anyway, but can you see tomorrow Hibs being awarded a 3-0 win? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Which would make it in effect 25 points or whatever it is just now. So, as I say, there was only going to be change in legislation if Celtic or Rangers were involved.
But where does that? As Shankers brought up a good point about Hibs. But see, if you're Hibs, do you play that? Have you got the right to say we don't want to play that game tomorrow because we're?
Got to.
I think the game will get called off tomorrow night.
Think so?
I think it will. I think just as Shankar said, the safety, and Wilson as well. Who was he sitting next to in the plane coming home? Who was he sharing the room with? All that needs to take into consideration. Then who were they sitting next to? And then it's just a snowball.
And we've seen as well, obviously, the club have announced that every other member of staff, players, etc., have tested negative. But Wilson, we saw Ryan Christie had to self-isolate when he was away with Scotland, even though he tested negative. So what happens there? Like, that's the kind of thing that's confusing me. Like, surely if one member of your bubble's tested positive, you all have to self-isolate, even if you've tested negative for several days before. I imagine that was obviously something changes with kind of conditions, etc. I don't know how it works, but I'm kind of eager to know what the situation is here with the other Celtic players involved.
Well, because they've made a catastrophe from the start in terms of, as I say, the St Mirren and Kilmarnock situation, but I think David's 100% right. Now, again, speaking from personally, my parents both felt unwell through the week from kind of Tuesday, Wednesday onwards. They were both tested on Friday, both got a positive result on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. I was in their house on Wednesday picking something up, okay, and I had to go for a test today. Now, I've had no symptoms, and yeah, maybe asymptomatic, but I was in the house for less than 2 minutes, okay? I was easily more than probably 2 metres away from them, but I've still got to go for a test. So I don't get if Chris Julian's testing positive, was he sitting 2 metres apart from everybody on the plane, and sitting on the team buses to get picked up at the airport? As I say, it's baffling. It's absolutely baffling.
See, the thing is, if it is Julian that has tested positive, that's just the rumour that's coming out there. I've seen a picture of him in crutches. Does he even need to go that trip?
Exactly.
And it's not as if he needs to train or anything. Like, if it is him and it's tested positive, he doesn't even need to be there. So that makes it even worse. Obviously, it's good for team bonding and all that you're out there, but just under the current situation that we're in, if it's him that has tested positive, it's worse because he doesn't even need to go that trip.
I can understand that argument as well, but what you tend to find is, if you're out with a long-term injury as such, even if the season was perfectly normal, what we're doing, some players get sent away for warm weather. Go to Dubai for a week and do some training with the physio. So I can understand why he's went out with the injury. I still don't understand why they went during a global pandemic.
That was.
But I understand why he's went. More intense treatment, etc., than he possibly would get at Celtic Park.
Yeah, definitely. But it's going to be a developing story, and make sure you tune into SM Media. We'll be keeping you updated in the situation. But we'll move on to the results over the weekend in the SPL Premiership. Kilmarnock 2-0 win over Hamilton. Greg Kilty get the 2 goals. St Mirren 1, Motherwell 1, a late equaliser for St Mirren. Kind of interrupted Graham Alexander's first game as Motherwell manager. Rangers went 22 points clear today with a 2-1 win over Aberdeen, and Livingston continued their fine run under David Martindale with a 3-1 win over Ross County. David, we'll start at Pittodrie today. Big result for Rangers. How massive is that? Getting Morelos back to form, and a massive result to go 22 points clear.
It was a good result. Not the best performance, but it was a good result. I thought the front three today were good for Rangers, and last week I thought the front three were rotten. Shows you how it changes. But I thought even Hadji as well. A lot of people talk about Kent and Morelos, but I thought Hadji was good as well. But Morelos back to his old self at some point today. A lot of people were talking. I think I heard on here as well that Morelos was rubbish last week. He done his job. He got a player sent off. Done his job today. Got a player sent off. So as far as I'm concerned, as a Rangers fan, he's doing his job for me. He's roughing the defenders up, and he's obviously got the 2 goals today. But Kent for me, I think's quality. I think Kent is different gravy. Every time he's on the ball, he's always
Wilson shaking the head.
Exactly. So I think they just try and get him on the ball as quick as they can, because he could just shift by his turn of pace. I think everything Rangers do is for him. Needless to say, that's why he started last week after being out. But good performance, and as Chris Boyd, he's brilliant, man. I love listening to him. See, after the game, he's like, we get the 3 points, another one ticked off. That's it.
Definitely. Shankers, what was your thoughts in the game? Obviously, the game kind of changed. I thought both teams were playing pretty well up until the red card. Also, the penalty. But we'll touch on the refereeing decisions. What do you think of them? And then we'll bring Wilson in, because obviously Wilson will want in this as well.
He's the Dermot Gallagher SM Media. Nobody cares about his opinion, but he gets it anyway. I thought it's right. I seen people saying about the double punishment, etc. If you get in the box, I think the double punishment is if you try and attempt to play the ball and you don't, and it's a foul and it's a penalty, you get your yellow card. But if it's obvious that there's no attempt to play the ball there, it's a red. And when you look at it, you've got the benefit of a couple of replays. I don't know if it's no obvious that he's clipped his heel, he's tried to clip his heels, but he has clipped his heels and stopped him going through and go. I think it is a red card, but I think the Curtis Main's tackle was even more of a red card than what the penalty is. I thought that was a terrible challenge, to be fair. And if Hedges isn't given the red card in the first place, I think Curtis Main walks, but I think the refs kind of bottled it, as you say. The linesman probably has actually got a better view. He could probably make a decision for him, but I think if Aberdeen are already down to 10 men, Curtis Main walks as well.
Wilson, what do you think of the referee's performance today at Pittodrie?
Well, again, Shankland, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't watch the game. I just, as soon as it went penalty to Rangers, there's no point in tuning in anymore. It's just become the usual Scottish football debacle that the referees are giving us. Now, Shankers has hit the nail on the head. You know, just because they're down to 10 men doesn't mean somebody else can't be sent off. You know, if it's a sending off, it's a sending off. And this is what I'm saying. Now, Shankers talking about a genuine attempt to get the ball. You know, was it a genuine attempt to get the ball when Joe Newell was in the box and Willie Collum didn't give a penalty? You know,
I thought that was a penalty.
But it's the inconsistency, you know. And again, I can understand the frustration. Again, there's so mixed messages about the double jeopardy and blah blah blah, etc. With what's going on. I would say that's a penalty. I think when you see the umpteen replays, but I mean, Beaton's got his whistle in his mouth 3 seconds before the ball's played through him, and Ali's waiting for some sort of contact, and it just confirms the same nonsense like Madden yesterday with the St Mirren penalty. These guys are completely and utterly incompetent, and they're moaning that they don't want VAR. Well, I'll tell you, I want VAR, because then you would soon see that 22-point gap cut, you know, to probably no points with the amount of penalties that Rangers have had this season, you know, and the incompetence of these referees. It's becoming criminal. And I love, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Rangers supporters banter on Twitter when they have penalty bingo and everyone sends their things in. I think that is absolutely, and it's the best thing is that's not a rivals banter, that's Rangers supporters banter. So they're obviously not blind, they can see it as well, because when they're under pressure away at Pittodrie, Aberdeen started okay, but if you're starting with Cosgrove and Main up front, I'm sorry, Derek McInnes should probably be sacked for that. Playing those two up front together, because they're both okay footballers, but I'm more a fan of the big man, wee man up front, rather than shelling the balls up to them and no interest in trying to pass or play. But again, it just stinks, because again that game's come down to another refereeing decision, and that's why they're 22 points cleared, David.
A sending off and apparently. See all this a genuine attempt to go for the ball. I've never, maybe once or twice, never seen a football player in a box just chop somebody, just like turn around and volley somebody. Every time somebody's, you never just see him just here, take that. So every tackle and every
no trying to get the ball.
Nobody's in the box thinking, I'm just going to absolutely knee-high you, or just every genuine attempt to get the ball. So I don't understand that. Like, you see what Hedges has done? He's trying to get round the side of him. So he's a genuine attempt to get round him. You can see all these people, but by the one you said, the one yesterday was just a shambles. Even Jim Goodwin, I heard the clip. I
always think though, and you guys have obviously played at a high level, you know by the player's reaction. If Hedges thinks that's never a penalty, he's right up in the referee's face, as are the rest, and they're screaming and shouting. Hedges turned down, looked at the ref, walked off. So he knows himself that that's a penalty, And again, as I say, I only saw the clip on Twitter of Curtis Main's tackle. Again, the Rangers players should have, well, I don't know if they were all hounding around the referee and pushing and shoving and whatnot. They need to be. They need to be. I mean, if that tackle happens at Rossvale, is David sitting in his seat in the dugout saying, well, okay, you'll be sent off? No, you're up and about. I think
they just expected it to be fair. Like, I don't think they even felt the need to go in the ref. I think they just expected it just because the way he went in. But the linesman should call it.
Dylan McGeer spoke well as well. In real time, I thought it was. I didn't think it was as bad as it was, but seeing you slow it down and you see it for different angles, it's a bad change. So in the real time, I just thought that's quite a bad tackle. It's about a yellow card.
We need VAR because these officials are incompetent. Absolutely incompetent.
In my mind, if your studs are up, if your studs are showing, you're running the risk of getting sent off. That's my opinion.
It's not as if he's like went over the top of the ball. Like, his studs are at Barisic' hip. The linesman can see him coming in with his studs up. Like, John Beaton's behind him, so he sees him going that way, but the linesman actually sees him coming towards him with his studs up. So for me, it's his call, but I think it's just a case of there's a man already sent off, I'm not sending him off, which shouldn't be the case. But
correct. Brother Beaton again, strikes again, good.
Let's move on to Kilmarnock. A 2-0 win over Hamilton. Wilson, Greg Kiltie get the 2 goals. How impressed have you been with Greg Kiltie? And now the second thing I want to touch on is, what are your thoughts on Eamon Brophy? But we'll start off with Greg Kiltie.
Well, he had a particularly good game yesterday, and I'll be honest, I think it's something that's been needed. Again, Greg featured quite a lot under Lee McCulloch and Lee Clark, but then Steve Clark didn't seem to rate him. Alessio kind of had him in and out, and I always kind of felt, from an outsider's point of view, does he have a position? He's a very talented footballer, but does he have a position to play? And obviously he seems to maybe be grabbing the chance of playing in that hole or the number 10 position well. And it's great, and it's a great boost of confidence for him. He's very talented, but again, I'm wanting him to do more every week. It's fine to do against Hamilton at home. It's a good start. Let's go and push on. I know he got man of the match a couple of weeks ago, so he seems to be coming onto a game and relishing playing that position. And it's just as I kind of touched on earlier, they've started going with Whitehall up front. Big man that can hold the ball in, can touch it down, and that's maybe where Greg's kind of relishing to play, because a centre half doesn't know if he come out and mark him, or the sitting midfielder's got to drop back in to try and pick him up. But he's certainly come onto a game. And good luck to him. He's been at Kilmarnock a long time, and I just hope we're now kind of getting to see the player that had so much potential kind of early doors, he's starting to kind of bear fruition now. In terms of Brophy, there's obviously a lot we don't know. There seemed to be an issue within with him and the manager. But again, I'll be honest, you can disagree if you like. Moving from Kilmarnock to St Mirren for me is 100% a move down. Kilmarnock are a bigger club than St Mirren will ever be, you know. And I don't get it. And again, I know a lot of football players possibly are motivated by a paycheck every Friday. But if he goes to a Hibs or an Aberdeen, you know, down south, you know, fair enough on you go and good luck to you. But I moved to St Mirren for me from Kilmarnock. And yeah, you can argue, well, he got a game at St Mirren, he wasn't getting a game at Kilmarnock. Well, you know, he's not. I think
that's what it'll be down to.
He's not as if he's proved he's, you know, a 20 plus goal a season striker. And as I say, he's had his moments and he scored a couple of goals, important goals for Kilmarnock. But I expected a lot more from him when he played. But we just didn't get it. There's obviously a slight issue with the manager, I would have thought, to let him go. Now, Kelly fans can say, right, okay, cheerio, but it's important you get someone in. You know, it's important if you've got him off the wage bill, you need to get somebody in that can replace him. But good luck to lads, you know. But as I say, it's a complete move down for me.
David, what's your thoughts on the Eamon Brophy going? Particularly, obviously, he has signed a pre-contract agreement to join St Mirren in the summer, but he has. There's been a Kilmarnock manager, Alex Dyer, come out and say he doesn't want Brophy to play for him, and again, so he's obviously been sent out on loan to St Mirren until the end of the season. So again, what do you think of the move and the aftermath of it?
I agree with Dyer. I agree with what he came out and said. And if you sign a pre-contract with another team in the division, rival team as such, they're neck and neck in the leagues, then I wouldn't play. If you're a player man of my players, I wouldn't play, because let's be honest, your heart's not going to be on it. And I stuck it on. I said that. I put a post up on Twitter, and a lot of Celtic fans came back. What about Jordan Jones and what about this when they've done with Rangers? What about it? He scored, but still, for me, if you sign a pre-contract with our team, your head's not there. It's different if you're a Kilmarnock and you sign a pre-contract with a Barnsley or a MK Dons, somebody in England. It's totally different. Or you sign with Rangers, Celtic, you're going for a big money move. If you sign for a St Mirren, as Wilson said, it's a step down, and they're neck and neck each other in the league. So no, I'm not for having it. And to be honest, again, what Wilson said, Kilmarnock's a bigger team than St Mirren. And I think there's more. He was there or thereabouts in the Scotland squad at one point, and Dyer and Clark are obviously still talk this, because there was chat of Dyer going up to help Clark for the Euros. So if you're Brophy, you've got your mindset in, I'm getting back in that team. I'm going to work my nuts off, and there's a possibility I could be in that Scotland squad, because they're not shouting about Nisbet. For me, I don't think Nisbet's there yet. Brophy's been in about the team, so he knows what's there. So I don't know. I think it's just a young mentality these days. I'm not playing him away, catchy. One of the ones. Fault the managers. It's never the manager's fault, is it? To be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Shankers, is there any you want to add to that before we move on?
No, I probably agree with him. If he signs a pre-contract with a team running about getting your place in the division, well, he's not going to can have him around there. It could be a case he says he'll train but he'll not play. They really want somebody who's not want to be a team training every day when you're preparing for games. Probably not really. And normally in the cases where he signed a pre-contract with St Mirren, normally, and I know it's in loan, but normally the clubs come to an agreement to maybe sell him early or whatever, and it's obviously St Mirren's not got the cash to do that probably, you know, so they went for the loan. But Eamon Brophy's probably just happy to go out somewhere, and St Mirren's probably says you'll come, you'll be the number 9, and he's probably happy. I seen Aberdeen and Hibs were possibly trying to get him a pre-contract, but couldn't offer as much money or whatever. But Hibs when Nisbet there, does he go? He's no guaranteed. He'll probably go there and need to work to be the number 9. Whereas at St Mirren, he'll probably just go there and be the main striker. So that's probably a selfish point of view. He's probably went there knowing he'll play rather than try and work for his place. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. We'll touch on you.
There was rumours that he'd signed a pre-contract with Morton. Is that true? I don't know. Greg Kilty.
Oh, Kilty, is it? I don't know.
He was on loan there after he was on loan at Dunfermline. But I don't think
he was signed a pre-contract. So even if he's not, there's rumours kicking about, but he's probably took the decision that, no, I want to focus.
Aye.
Come on, look. And then I'll deal with, if I'm knowing his plans this summer, then I'll deal with that in the summer. He can obviously speaks for him, getting 2 goals and things like that. So,
definitely. Yeah, definitely. We'll touch on, obviously, Motherwell and Livingston later on in the show. We've got a couple of fan questions about them. We'll move on to our special guest, David Gormley. It's a pleasure to be on, David. You started off at Motherwell. What was your days like there? How did you get scouted and things like that? And how was your time there, kind of coming through the youth system?
Aye, well, that's obviously where I served my YT and done my apprenticeship. Was there. It was I played with Motherwell. I think it was like for 14s upwards. Chris McCart was the youth development guy there. And at just 16-year-old, I just got offered a YT, 2-year YT, and that's where I done my apprenticeship. It was good times, probably best times of my football career, to be honest. Just in there and about the boys and that. And that team I had, still talk to every one of the boys that I was in that team with, and now we're on a group chat, and that's all my pals, as you would say, such. So good times. Aye, it was good. Good, obviously, learning curve experience, as everybody could imagine.
Definitely. You move on to Glenafton with Gordon Dale. What were your days like in the juniors with the Glens?
Aye, it was good. Obviously, I left Motherwell when I was ending my apprenticeship, and then just try a team was non-existent. We're into Airdrie, and it was just the experience. We're into a couple of other teams, and it was just, I was only a 18, 19-year-old boy, so ended up going down to Glenafton. It was my pals were down there, Willie Howie and Chick Conley and Frankie Haggerty were all down there, so they took me down there. It was good. It was a good learning curve as well in terms of the juniors. It was the first time I'd ever been down there and playing men's football, and then Gordon Dale was he was something. It was at the time I think he was on, I think he's teetotal now, but I think he was on the booze when he was a manager with us, so it was times, let's just say.
What was the kind of memory? What was the memories? What was the best stories you've got for that?
The biggest one was we played a team forward in the Scottish dice. We played them in the Scottish. We went up the night before. DL was up all night, blood bluttered. Went to the game. He would never come on the bus. He got a taxi there, bluttered. Named the team starting. First half 5-0. I scored a hat trick and sent 2 up. Chick Conley gets sent off. Comes into the changing room. Has a go at me. Starts shouting and bawling at my face. You're shite, you're this shit. I'm like, everybody's looking like, you've just scored a hat trick. Somebody's been sent off. You set 2 up. The assistant manager sitting behind him doing all that, and he just does that. He picks up and just launches at me. He's like, "You're coming off." I was like, people just like, assistant manager Scott Archer's like, I don't know what's going on. Turns out, that was his team. Turned out, just walked out. I'm like, Scott Archer's like, you need to come off. He's wanting you off. He's like, I don't know who's going. It was just mental. It was just some interesting times. But to be fair, he helped me and he worked to me because a striker. And he got me my move to Ayr United, which I was happy with. So it was good. It was good, and it was some good times with him.
As you say, you got into Ayr, obviously some good characters in that dressing room. Who was the players in that dressing room that were good for you?
I think everybody that comes on this show, I'll say Dean Keenan, as you know. So there was a lot of good characters. There wasn't just Dino, there was Dino, there was Steve-O, we were Easton, who I used to travel with. Hunts was a silent assassin as well, and then you had the captain Tiff. So Alec Williams, there was a lot. It's a great team, and I was just a young boy there as well. I was 20-year-old, and I was just my first senior team in that. So it was good to see all these guys who'd probably made a good bit in the game and get a name in their game for the lower league. So very good team, and then obviously working under Reedy was something special and all.
But was but obviously the first partnership I remember, it was you and Brian Prunty. Did you have a good partnership with him?
I did, and everybody will say like, oh, we're pals after the park. We actually were. Our partners were always put together the 4 days or whatever. Travelled down there every Tuesday, Thursday. Played this Saturday, travelled all the time. So we built up that relationship, and he was an exceptional player. And I just kind of fed off him. I just listened. I was like a sponge with him. I just listened to what he got to say and how he wanted me to play. And listen, at the end of the day, he was all about him. I wanted to score goals, and the league's player of the year that season. But he came up to me after, and he was obviously talking to me. He's like, you were also a big help in that for me, because I used to just get the ball and just look for him straight away. Just get the ball to him. So he was an exceptional player, and obviously followed down the line, we ended up going on to like Alloa and that together.
Yeah, definitely. Marco was there as well. You get any Marco stories?
He came in the second year. So when he came in, that was me going out. So he kind of kicked me out. When he signed, I was like, right, and we were in it was a championship now, the old first division, and when he came in, I was kind of a bit off the pace then, and he's obviously dropped in for Partick Thistle, whatever it was, and he came in and basically took my place. So then it was him in Prunty up front, so I got shipped out to Alloa and Albion Rovers and all that, so But I was there with Marco for a while, and he was just bonkers, man. Him and Neil McGowan, man, just the two of them were bonkers. And the night out, used to go to the, what was it, not dance, I don't know, they used to go.
His music's terrible, isn't it?
He used to just finish a drink and just launch at you, and I'd be like, oh, can't you get a tumble or not? I was some player. He was obviously as well. I learned a lot from him as well. I used to always kind of just smash the ball into the net, and he was like, "What are you doing that for? What are you doing? How can you control smashing the ball?" He's like, "Just roll it in the corner." And every training session used to do shooting drugs, and he used to just roll it in. The keeper couldn't get to it, so he was a great player as well. Right?
So, David, you move on to Alloa. What was your time like there?
That was good. I enjoyed Alloa. I was a bit more experienced there. Alan Maitland was the manager, and he was good with me as well. He put me in because it was hard. I was struggling to get a game up front with Prunts, and there was a boy, Stuart Millwall there. Two of them were doing well, so he put me right mid, and I played right mid for the rest of the season. I know Shankers will not believe it, but getting up, but it was good. I enjoyed it. We got to the play. We missed out in the league to Stirling with 1 goal difference, and then we lost out in the playoffs to Cowdenbeath. So it was a good season as well, and I enjoyed it. Alloa, it was good for 2 years we were under Alan Maitland. It's a good way working with him.
Brilliant. And then obviously you go to the juniors with Rob Roy and Auchinleck, where you would have played with Shankers. What was your memories of Rob Roy and Auchinleck?
So Rob Roy kind of saved me, to be honest. When I left Alloa, I had no really anywhere to go, senior wise anyway. As obviously I dropped down, and then at junior, nobody really I never really got much phone calls with junior, and it was a friend of the family, Jimmy Lindsay, who got the job at Rob Roy, and he phoned me to take me up there, and I went up. To be brutally honest, because I never did anything else, and I went up there and I did well, got a few goals. I think the first 6 months of the season we were top league at Rob Roy, and then we died a death. We just lost the wheels. I think we didn't Auchinleck, we beat them 3-1. We had a lot of good players, and then the second half of the season we just blew up. I think we finished 5th or something. So, and then that's when obviously Talbot came calling. The way we fought with no Jimmy, the assistant manager at the time, and he kind of didn't want me. He wanted rid of me, to be honest, and then I went to Auchinleck.
What happened to Auchinleck?
Was that when Marvin Andrews was at Rob Roy?
Aye, it was first game. He absolutely slaughtered me. Clive Banks, first game in, you very good player, but you need to pass the ball. Rob Roy was like, it was just top pals. It was just total banner. And as soon as I seen that, everybody just rolling off their seat in the change room at half time, getting beat 3-0, and everybody's the manager's like, come on here, look, getting beat here. But they brought a DVD out and that. He went on loan for a month, came for a month, and they brought Rob Roy brought a DVD out and all that. We could beat 3 out of 4 games.
Auchinleck, what was it like under Tucker and playing alongside Shankers?
Brilliant. Obviously, as you can imagine, that was my best time. Strange how that move came about. I was working with my pal doing the moral blocking on the sites, and as you know, Tucker drives the forklifts, and he came with a pallet of blockways and sat down, and that boy along with blah blah says, "He's like, what are you doing this?" Rob Roy, not enjoying it, and then that's basically how the move came about. There's my number, pulled his phone out, it was all brick and mortar and all that, and there's my take number, so we ended up just speaking, and that's how the move came about, which was funny to see. Also, I came out on a bounce site, but good doing there working with them was brilliant. It was good. My travel partners with Goldie and Butch obviously helped it as well, because getting down yourself would have been tough. So us 3 used to travel down together, and we were the only Glasgow boys, and the Ayrshire ones tried to piss us a bit, but then it worked. So, it was good, brilliant, as you can imagine. 3 years, we won and 2 Scottish Cups, so I was absolutely brilliant, to be honest.
Shankers, what's your memories of David at Auchinleck?
Probably the one that sticks out the most is before I was even at Auchinleck, and I was at the cup final against Lithgow, and I couldn't believe he never started that game, to be fair, but he came on and scored the winner, and won the cup that day, so they get the last laugh, but I couldn't believe he never started that game.
Tucker as well. That was just the way, obviously, talking about the Eamon Brophy stuff. There was rumours that I had done a good season, and there was rumours I was maybe going to go step up to go to a senior team. And he was asking me, and I was saying no. And then the way Tucker was, he's like, right, there's a deal for next year. And I was like, I don't know about it. And he's like, well, if you don't sign that, you're not playing the final. And
there's many a player had that deal.
I had that ultimatum, and that's what he done. And I said that I did sign before the final because I thought I wanted to play. So I signed before the final, and then the final came and I still didn't play. I wasn't happy. Bunny Petter Lip wasn't able to talk to MD. Everybody was trying to keep heat up. Usual big part to play.
That's the worst thing MD can say, but keep the heat up, mate. And your head's gone.
That was probably the day I did that. That was probably not that day because I ended up bloated or not, but the developments for that game is probably the day I realised you do need to keep your head up because look what happened as well. I was a sub, Milky and G came up, played. G came off, and that's when Only scored the winner. And everybody was just talking about obviously that goal because we won. So that was probably the day of the realisation of me, like, end of the day, you need to stop being in. I used to go in mids all the time with Brian Reid when I wasn't playing. And I heard that Robin Van Persie interview the other day. It's not the manager's fault. It's the guy individually. What do you need to do to get back in that team? So I'm trying to tell my players that they know, but they're the old David Gormley telling me to beat it. And so it was good that the Scottish Cup final was brilliant, especially in Lithgow. And then Butch and Goldie had won it before, and travelling to the games, I was like, how the league's got to be bigger. Surely the league's bigger than when the Scottish.
That's no, off your leg. It's no.
Wait to see this comes. I'm like, but your league's your bread and butter, blah blah. No. Wait till you win the Scottish and wait till you win the league. Won the league and it was just pat in the back, and won the Scottish and it was a full party.
Brilliant. But you move on to Clyde with Barry Ferguson. What was he like as a manager?
It was good. I was obviously the last cup final. Was it Musselburgh we played? That was walking light. I didn't know if I was going to play that day either because I had told him I was going to Clyde, and he knew. And I ended up playing. I went with 3 up front that day, and he went me, G, and Milky, and I played right mid. I think G was left, Milky through middle, and then he changed it. So I ended up playing that day, and then after that game, to be fair to him, he shook my hand, and I went on to Clyde. And the only reason I moved probably was because senior football anyway, and probably because Barry Ferguson was a hero of mine, and the fact that I'd won everything in juniors, and I wanted something different. I'd won the league, Scottish, West, Ardagh, everything. So something different. Then went up to closer to home as well, and went to Clyde, and it was good. First season was good. Second season wasn't as good, but and then the third season was also a write-off because managing. But first season was brilliant. A lot of good players. Obviously, that's when I met my assistant manager, Sean Higgins.
Yeah.
And we spoke obviously numerous times, and the reason probably we didn't do so well was we had a lot of big eagles in that changing room. I was the only one that came up the way. Everybody else came down. So they all came down for a higher division or a higher team, like Shug Murray, Scott McLaughlin, Sean Higgins, Chris Smith, all these players. And I think there was too much of an ego, too much of big players in the changing room, which can obviously, it showed you, doesn't help.
Yeah, and as well as that, obviously, Barry's now at Celtic Hearts. Do you think he's got potential to be a top manager in Scottish football?
He has, definitely. He has, and his training is brilliant. And as me as a manager now, every drill, I just use what he's got. And I spoke to him before the COVID kicked in March. I spoke to him about going up to Celtic and seeing what new drills he's got for us because he was brilliant. His training was absolute, but obviously the downside of that was just some of the things he used to say to folk one of the players was mental, man. Just the way he just didn't have that filter. And I need to tell a story. I'll try and no swear, but Plaiman throws away, and Plaiman throws away, and we're getting beat 2-0 half time. And Bob was out talking to the ref and shouting at the ref. So we've walked him in, and Chris Smith Jr., big junior, you know him, Shanks. So we've come in at half time. He's bonkers. Junior, what the hell was that? Blah, blah, blah. Effing this, blah, 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 blah. Shouting and bawling up for ages. What have you got to say? And as he started to say, Bob walked in, and Junior went to speak, and Bob did that. Shut your fat mouth, you. Oh man, the two of them are brilliant. He's like, hey, tell me what you got to say, and then Bob just comes out of the gym. Shut your mouth, don't you say a word. We were no. Oh, brilliant,
That
man.
was
Brilliant. And Nathan Austin, it's with him at Kelty now. We played these 5. And he's like to the 2 centre halves, right, boys? You know what you're going to get out of him. He's very unpredictable. We all look at each other like, what? He's unpredictable. Like, how do we know what we're going to get then? Honestly, me and Scott were all like, did I hear him right? Is that what he just says? But no, as I said, he was brilliant, and he gave a lot to Clyde in terms of obviously what he done and what he brought. He brought a lot to Clyde, and it was good for me. And obviously, it was an audium just watching him every session and every game. But we were unlucky not to go through the playoffs. And I think if we did go up through the playoffs, we would have went on to better things. But we could be off Queen's Park, and then the next season was just we managed to stay in the league. I think with 2 points or something, which was a bit of a failure. And obviously, I think Barry and Bob left by then. So they've signed a lot of good players, and they've got some team at Kelty. Obviously, I watched the highlights of that game for yesterday. I think they were a bit unlucky. Don't know what the boys doing. I don't know if you've seen it, but last minute.
I've never seen it, no.
Slides in the box. And
I seen it was a penalty, like.
Especially somebody who has experience. The boy's going nowhere, but he's got a good team. And I know, obviously, my mate plays with Bride, and I know TV can there, so it's going to be between they two, and then Bonnyrigg yesterday done well as well. So it's a tough league. ESC have just signed Talbot, so they'll be up there as well. So it's a good league, that Lowland League, to be honest. It'll be hard for them to get out, which I think they expect to get out first time. But
definitely. You're now at Rossvale. What's the ambitions there? Obviously, what's management like as well for you, and how do you see it going?
It's hard, to be honest. It's hard. I think if you were to ask it, obviously, empty. When I got the job, everybody was like, "Why are you going to take the job?" And it came about random, and I thought me as well. I chucked football because of my injury. My knee was killing me, so I chucked it, and I was at the game for about 4 or 5 months, and I missed it, to be honest. Going shopping on Saturdays, and that just wasn't for me. I felt lost every Saturday, so that job came up, and I took it, and it was good last year. I'm not saying it's no good. It was good last year because we were winning and we were doing well, and obviously winning makes you happy, so we were good. But this year's been different. The whole COVID, and we went 4 or 5 games without a win. We've picked up a few results lately against teams that we're going to be playing. We'll be in a mini league with, like Cumbernauld, Largs, Glencairn, teams like that. So it's been good, but it's been difficult. It's brought a lot of challenges, and I think, I don't know, it's difficult. It's dealing with players is difficult, especially after the 2 managers I kind of idolise myself on, which is Barry and Tucker. And I think how would they deal with situations I've dealt with, and it's just totally different, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. You know, took any like Tucker's drills or that into your training?
No. Just Tucker. I tried to take Tucker's mentality towards it. Tucker's. I actually run about like Tucker in training now. Boots and all that. I need to get players to give me a pair of boots and all that. I feel like them, but it's just hard, and I didn't expect it to be as hard as what it was in terms of players on the plane. We get beat 3-0. We get beat half a team, and somebody's came to see me. The next week I've dropped him. Came to see me. How am I not playing? Well, we get beat last week, and that's why. And I thought you should play him. Whoa, don't talk about anybody else. Things like that. And I just can't. I never imagined myself going to Tucker and say, "Tucker, how am I not playing?" I didn't. There was a point in a season, my second season, I wasn't in the team at all. And I remember going away to Beath on Boxing Day, and I was an unused sub, and it was stoning down from the heavens, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing here? But I still didn't go and say to Tucker, how am I not playing? Because I know his answer would be, get out my face, what are you talking about? Even Barry Ferguson was my manager for 2 years, and I never ever went in to see him and asked him how I wasn't playing. Because the reason why I'm not playing is either I've not been good enough, or he doesn't rate me for that game. So it's just the mentality of something we're coming up against. As soon as you get dropped, it's how am I not playing? Teddy's at the pram, which don't get me wrong, I was once there, but I'm just trying to myself, Sean, and my coaching staff, I just try to speak to the guys and just say, listen, you need to, if you're not in a team, it's up to you to get yourself back in the team. It's not up to you to say, I'm away. The keys chuck the Teddy at the pram, I'm away. So it's hard, that side, it's hard. And Rossvale's been brilliant. It's a good club for me to learn that, but in terms of budget-wise and that as well, it's hard for me to attract players. It is. I need to go for the younger market, which my squad this year, I think there's 2 or 3 probably over 25. The rest are all young under 25. So it's hard to get that mentality. And similar to what I said at Clyde, we had too many big egos. At Rossvale, I have not got any egos. So I'm trying to get that balance and trying to get that leadership for some of them in the team, which is hard. So it's a good learning curve for me to see where I'm at. But we've got good players there. We have. They just need to believe that they're good players, and we just need to make sure we can show ourselves.
Definitely. Wilson's back with his quick fire questions. What have we got?
Oh, to be fair, he's answered quite a lot of them in his speech, sir. The only thing I was going to quickly ask was, do you still have an affiliation with Rossvale Amateurs and the kind of progress all the way down to kids level? It's still that kind of system?
As far as when I took over last September, I think if you asked me that question, I'd say no. But since I've brought Bill Rayside in, who's the liaison with the development us, we've got under 20s now, and I think the academy and the juniors, the professional team are working close together now. From this year, I would say they have. We brought one of the young boys up last year, young Regan, and he's been brilliant for us. So this year we brought another boy up, Robbie. So this season it's coming into place. In the 20s, we're training the other side of the park phase, and I'm close to the Bulls, obviously dealing with the 20s and the first team. So yeah, there's a massive Rossvale community in terms of age groups. So we need to try and just get everybody working together. Something that annoys me, obviously, I think every person you've been on here, our manager, just always said, I want to work with the youth, I want to do this, I'm all about youth football, and I want to get the young boys up. You want to win games. You want to win a game. See if that young boy who's playing is going to win you that game, he'll play. You're not going to put a young boy in that's no good enough. So it's just like whole cliche stuff with the whole managers really annoys me. And I do interviews after the game with our social media people, and I try not to be like the whole cliche stuff on managers say, it's like the young boys and this and that, we should have won the game. No, we shouldn't have won the game, we weren't good enough. So, and then that's what a couple of times with Sean's criticism is, well, just need to calm down there or whatever, but it's just, I just can't be in the bush and just fluffing things up and things like that. Jim Goodwin yesterday, why not just couldn't say, wasn't it a penalty? But we got it, so fair play. Just be honest.
I agree. I totally agree.
I'll
also
Neil
big
Warnock's
advocate
the best
of.
interview.
Was that
Sorry?
I say Neil Warnock's one of the best interviews because he just comes out and just tells you how it is. And I remember a young boy made his debut and he says, "How was that?" And then he says, "Well, I don't know how I felt. I was shit myself to start." You get what I mean? That's just honest, just being honest, saying something like that. It's better hearing it like that rather than just hearing the old cliches.
Sheffield United manager last year, Henderson was in goals and I think he got a goal away. No, young boy. No, young boy, if he wants to go and play with Scotland or Man United, he needs to toughen up. Yeah. And that's the point. Like, I honestly do hate it. There's a whole load of cliche manager stuff and you hear that on interviews after the game. You're just like, oh man, stop it. To be fair, Straney is good. Straney's interviews are good, and I speak to Straney all the time, and he comes out and he doesn't hold back, and you shouldn't get punished for having an opinion if you think that's right. Like, do you know what I mean? So I like to hear. I hate the whole, and it's just when you hear the whole, we want to work with the youth. It's a whole professionalism round about this place. What? You install the professionalism, there shouldn't be an issue. And while I'm on my rant and things like that, we played a team this year, and I heard them shoot like the way it is now. We're obviously getting changed in a cardboard cutout there, and they're up there and changed. And you can hear the team talks, and I heard they were getting their team talk first, and I heard, right, your attitude needs to be spot on the day. And I was like, I done my team talk. I was like, did you hear that? And they're like, what? He's just asked them about their attitude. See if I need to ever bring an attitude into any of my team talks, you won't be here. Fucker never ever said to us in the speech, you need to get your attitude right. Your attitude should be spot on. There should be no, you need to get your attitude right. You need to do this, you need to match them. That should be part and parcel of going out in that football field. Is matching them. But the only one tucker I used to always say was get your sleeves rolled up. Used to wear a long jacket, long sleeve.
Do that,
sleeves rolled up.
Even does it if he's doing a team talk with a polo shirt on, he'll still try and roll his sleeves.
That's it. Just roll your sleeves up.
The team talks in the back of like an old gas bill that he's had through the door.
And it doesn't make sense in that. And he's got like me he'd write back, no, but he would name the team I was up for. See the letter. They'll get the gas ball team line. I'm playing right back today, and then it would just be, that's just the way. I just hate it. I just honestly, I said that to my players and that. I said, listen, see if I need to ask you about what your attitude. He's a football player. He's only getting paid the now. He's travelled all the way down to the team it was, and I'm need to say to you, make sure your attitude's all right. You should only get beat on your level of ability. That's where we should get beat. You should be working hard. It's just as hard as that guy next to you.
Yeah.
For instance, if it's like you're playing a knocking like you get a bit of magic for Shanks, or you get Carlo Monti a bit of magic, that's the only way you should get beat. You shouldn't get beat with a guy having a better attitude than you. Sorry about that. I just had to get out of my chest there.
No, that's fine. Wilson, are you any quick fire questions you can ask?
So just have you ever met David Robertson?
No.
Nah, neither have we in Shankers. We haven't either. We haven't met him either. No invite it.
I was looking forward to the 4 years a week, and then I was working night shift last night, and I put it on, and I was like, it's just the two of them. Shankers must have coped or something.
I mean, Shankers introduced me to Suarez and Torres, but Pikey can't get introduced to Steve. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But that's another story we'll go on. Right, so as I say, I think I know the answer to some of these ones already, because you mentioned it, but we'll go anyway, right? Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
55 or 10?
55.
League or Scottish?
For me, it's a league, but obviously we spoke about that earlier, and the Scottish was unbelievable.
Shankers or Graham Wilson?
Jeez, man.
I could have got a game for him and Graham, so it's got to be G.
Can I sit in the fence, to be fair?
No, we need an answer. Graham's tuned in. So we need to hear him.
That needs to be horrible. He doesn't have Wi-Fi. I would say, and this is me being honest, G.
Right, cut the show now. That's it. He's off.
In terms of, that's like saying Messi and Ronaldo kind of thing. Like Shankers, obviously we played you last year, Shankers, and twice we played you in Scottish and we played you in the league. And our is where we had to stop the source at you. Shankers is going to get the ball and he's going to cut in, he's going to do it. Stop free kicks, but on the park, you know what you're getting after you. G's an animal. He's elbowing you, he's punching you, he's kicking you, half chances a goal. But when we played you, none of you played that. None of you were that. When we stopped the source at you and we kept high. So it was hard for me. It was hard to play against Talbot in the first place. But I don't know. It's a very good question because my team taught us all about stop Shankers. But Graham Wilson also is an unbelievable player. But better than all of them is Milky, to be honest. He's Milky was.
I don't know him, so it's better boys I know, so I can go back and tell what you said again. Right, here we go. Right, Talbot or Glens?
Talbot.
Best player played with?
The whole career.
Yeah, whole career. And drop big names. We love big names, even though Strikers won't introduce us to them. We like big names.
Obviously, when I was a young boy, although you trained with like Scotty McDonald and that, and you've seen them and played reserve games with all them, so he was obviously brilliant. And if you're having his team at training, you won. But for having as a professional and having a career with somebody and playing with probably Steve, to be honest, it pains me to say it, but Ryan Stevenson.
Worst player played with?
There's a few of them. Boy. Any Air fans? No. Alan Dempsey played with us at Ayr United.
I've heard the name.
No, I don't know him.
He used to take a guy and he used to throw it with a bomb. I used to throw it and it used to what's getting on you? And he just used to laugh and you're like, that's not funny. He just threw it at my face during the game. But he was but there was a few badgings that like Whitey's obviously see Stephen White at Talbot. He's one of the top players I've ever seen in my life. But he's effective in what he does. See you having a ball at his feet. He doesn't have a scuba bit to do it.
He'll tell you that himself.
I know.
Fair play.
But that was one of the things. He just done his job, just to just smash folk and get to also the better players. So
that's why it's a team game, right? Best away ground.
Probably Kilmarnock when we played them in the replay of the cup for Ayr United. It was on Sky.
That 3-1 game.
It was 3-1.
Aye.
Absolutely sent about 5 years to the show. 3-1. Prunty and Bald. I had a chance at one each, 1-1 with Alan Combe, and I absolutely shit my brakes, man. Man, I've just run up and I think I put it in the side netting, and I was like, that was a chance. And then even out Parton scored.
Kelly were down to 10 as well, Pikey. Kelly were down to 10 men. You know, that's all we need. Be that mob.
He had the ball in the corner. You know Big Bobo, didn't you? Big
Mark Campbell.
He got booked early on, and Mehdi Tao the ball, and he was with him. I think I was there as well, and I can't remember. Tiff was there, and he done a mad step over, and Campbell was shouting, "Somebody smash him! I can't." Tiff's like, "I've been booked, and I'm trying to get in the line." I sent 3 years all that way, and we're all like, I get sent it in again off my mates. They keep it. And you see, does this over the 3 years? I'll go that way, and then you see the 3 years. It's like Benny Hulse gets 3 years chased. That was something. That was a good. The home tie was good.
I remember the home tie. Was it 2 each? Was Ali Williams scored the late goal?
Ali Williams kissed the referee.
Aye, that's right. Aye.
Kissed the ref on a thing.
I think Dino scored that game. I'm not sure though. I'm not seen anything about it.
I think it sums up how much of the Zoomers are. He's put up the day on Instagram 12 years ago today, and then Ryan Stevenson's put up the day 11 years ago today.
I've seen that.
I can tell you, I knew I knew something, but I was the home tie. Was it the home tie? Home tie. I was at a New Year's party, and my mates was Adam and steamboats and shaved all my hair off, and then I went and played that we played obviously United, and I'm live on Sky with a baldy, man. Honestly, people are looking at me like, you man. So that was a good. We were unlucky. But.
Right, funniest thing you've heard from the crowd?
I'm glad you asked that, because that's just obviously the usual Gormley, you fat. And I'm like, it's the guy Jordy or whatever.
Big Jamsey.
Aye, Jamsey. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, fair to stay. But no, I was going to mention it. Like, see, already now you got all the players playing against their old team and they don't celebrate and all that. See, when I was at Plauer coming out to Talbot, it absolutely cursed me, like proper back of my head. And I'm like, that's the way it should be. Your team to win that day. I want my team to win. And then we were with Paul. I think we stopped you winning the league that year. We beat you. And then you I was on and I never scored. I can't remember who scored. Running by the Talbot fans, getting them all that, and they're all kill me. But that's just what you want to do. Like, I don't hate Talbot, I love them, but they obviously slaughtered me. Or the Glenafton thing, they slaughtered me. It's just part and parcel you get. But the obvious ones, obviously, I think it was it United? I can't remember who it was. Somebody. I can't remember who it was, but I was playing a game. Somebody I was round in the line, and somebody shouted, "Gormley, I've phoned your Chinese. Don't worry about it, pal." I was like, oh man. And when I try to chase a ball, try to chase something on here's that, I'm like, Jesus, man, what's going on?
See how you're talking about bad shouts? This isn't like a horrific shout, it's just a stupid one. See, when I think Spenny was at Troon, and he come back and played us at Long Lake, and somebody shouted Colin Spencer reject, as if like he couldn't get a game and he'd been pied. He had a testimonial and won about 10 Scottish Cup and 10 leagues. James
Latta shouts on a football park. You had the ball and like you could have a chance to score, and Latta would shout for you to cut it back, and he's
Wally does that all the time. Either miles away, you cut it back and they're never to be seen.
Guys, and you're James Latta. I'm not going to pass to you ever shot. Excellent, I do that. So, it was. So some of the shouts are good all the time, but probably the weight one's obviously a big one.
Most famous person you've ever met?
McIlroy, Rory McIlroy.
Ooh, that's a good one. Get him in the golf show, Pikey. Get David on the golf show. Barry Ferguson or Danny Lennon?
Barry Ferguson.
Best manager played under?
It's got to be Tucker.
Worst manager you've played under?
Morris Malpass, but nah, I never really played under him much. But Reedy, I've got to say Reedy. Brian Reid for just his shouts and just the way he was, and I had him to him one day coming home in the motor. It was hilarious, man. I used to win them. I was just a young boy and I was just daft and was looking at like Marco and Tiff and Steve and Dino, and they would just like fire wee things at me, and I'd be running saying, "Aye, Reedy, aye." Just did that, man. But we played. It was a playoff final that Steve scored 1-0 at Airdrie, and we all went back down to Ayr and the bus and all. We were all steaming. Kenny Conley was driving, so it was me, Prunce, Stan, and Kenny. And Reedy's like, "Oh, if I jump in the walk, I got the ruddies." Well, I jump in, Reedy. Sat in the front, he dropped me. I'd been playing all the time, he dropped me. So I was sitting behind him, and then full way up, I just kept flicking his ear and smashing him. Like, "Oh, you're not playing today, no? How was I not playing?" He's like, Kenny, stop this motor, I got no crime out now. I just kept flicking him, started trying to punch me, and I was like, "Oh, really?" But some of his shouts were things were. I was with Alaba and we played there, and we were running 3-1 at half time or something. I think I scored 2, and you might have been at Ayr at the time, no, I don't know. And he shouted, he went to change room, he was like to Stan and Scotty, "What you doing? Mate, that Gormley guy look like Messi, man. What you doing?" He couldn't tell me. He was like, "You're reading there, man."
See his team talks. I think Scotty and that counted how many times he said "fucking" once, and it was like 40 odd times. If he couldn't think of the next word to say, that's what he would say.
Peter Reid.
He just used to say, "Hey, me man, I'm doing like a bee's wing, do ya?" So he said to Stan, "I'm doing like a bee's wing, do son." He was, it was funny. Seen him and Alec Williams having a set to as well in the training field. It was like a practice. We were playing a game and he played, and me and Prince were up front against him, and Alec was in Reedy's team, and I think we just battered. It was like 3 goals and a half, so we just battered, got to 3 goals. Alec Williams, him and Scotty Walker centre half, and he's like, "Jeez, oh man, it's like Hoddit and Doddit down there." And Reedy's like, "Who are you talking to?" Manager, Charles towards it. And it was like this big grass part there, and they said to "You know what, just you walk up the road," and it was miles, it was like the uni or something, and it was miles away to the park, and used to 2 of them on nearly scrapping, man. It was just mental.
Somebody was somebody on and said that when they were at Ayr and Brian Reid, they were playing like 5 or something, and the teams were late to train it when the teams were already out, and because they were late, Brian Reid played, and then when he came, he just told him not to play. I told him to go back up the road.
I'm playing just got the road. Honestly, man, he was brilliant, man. I was just probably my first after I was with DL, and then I went to that, and I'm like, "What is this manager not about, man?" But he was hilarious. It didn't just his team talks were. He never looked him in the eye. Not used to do all that. And they said,
Brian Reid,
and I used this example to my coaching staff, like, as well. Another bugbear. Seen you send a player out to get warmed up, and you said because he's doing warmed up and he's just stunning there. I done it to a couple weeks ago. I said, "But go and get warmed up, you can on." I looked down, he's stunning there, just like down at the corner flag. So I was like to the coaching staff, I said, "You played Hibs, where United," and I done that. Brian Reid sent me down, "Go and get warmed up. You're maybe going on, but down warmed up." And at this point, I was like 15 minutes ago, and I was still stunning. I was like, stunning there like the corner flag. And he looked down and seen me, and he sent me DJ down. Me DJ came running down. I'm like, "I'm going to DJ came running down like, you've just to go for a shot." The gaffer looked down and saw you know doing it.
Marcus chopped the guy about 10 times.
Aye. He's like, "You're not going on. You've just to go for a shower." I'm like, "How?" He's like, "You look down, so you stun your hands in your hand." I'm like, to be honest, I wasn't doing it. So
We DJ used to do everything he said, didn't he?
He just run everywhere. Never watched him run. None of it everywhere. The night Alec Williams and Dino broke into Alec Williams, Dino jumped the fence at Ayr and went and played football in the park about 12 o'clock on a Saturday night. They were at Club de Mar or something. And then he jumped in the park. Mind Harco, God bless him, man.
Aye, the Grunsman.
he ended up. I think he came in the morning. I think there were lines. We saw snow and there was footprints not to check back the calendars and see Dino and Egg running about the park.
Superb. We've got time for a couple of fan questions for you, David, from a couple of friends of the show. Scotty McLaughlin asked, why did Dave dress as John Smeaton for the Christmas night out in Belfast?
That was the night we met Rory McIlroy. I'll get that photo to you. There's just a normal outfit, but I used my accessory was a tartan scarf for some reason. I don't know. Must have seen somebody on the telly wearing it and I thought, that looks cool. And I had a tartan scarf on and I absolutely got slaughtered. And it was at the time that Smeato had saved Glasgow Airport and all. And John, you know, Scotty's like, the full night you just can't call me Smeato. Smeato!
Brilliant. Stephen McCluskey. Has David still got the biggest bunions in Scottish football?
Oh man,
Whitey has.
Shankers don't know, man. I've got bunions in my feet, either side of my foot. So I've got a bunion in my inside and my outside and both feet, man. My boots are like a size 10.5 long and they're about 5 wide. I've got big, massive plates of meat.
Dean Keenan as well was a player you played with a couple of times, David. What was your favourite Dean Keenan story? We've heard a lot of them on here. What you got?
I'm not sure if it's already been said, but we played Dundee at Somerset. I don't know why, but as well, like Aird got this. The chairman got a big got a spa jacuzzi thing into the changing into the shower area. So we played Dundee one time and I think it was 0-0. And Lee Griffiths boy at the top and Dino smashed him, absolutely milled him, sent off red. And we needed to want to stay kind of in the league with contention, like to stay up. And he gets sent off and he changed him. And I think Gary Harkin scored. I can't remember, somebody scored the 1-1 now. So we've come in, everybody's all raging, I can't believe it. We're so close to it. I walked in and Reedy's like, oh, where's that Dino one? DJ, where's Dino? DJ opens the door in the changing room into the shower room. Dino's in there with the music going, and this big bath with the bubbles with the foam. See the all coming everywhere. Just sitting there, you know, steam coming out his ears, and DJ just opens the door. And where I was sitting, I could see right in. I just see him. He just laughed at me. Foam burst coming everywhere and bubbles and all. And he was just like, sup? What's up? Who cares not? But
it's good value on Twitter as well, Dean Keenan.
Sometimes he needs just to be. I tell him that night, still kidding. All that Celtic nonsense, man. Sometimes he's not honest. I'm like, just be honest. Again, the day, you know. Then he just blocks me all the time. So that's you getting blocked. He blocks me. Last one, we were on a night out in Austria, and we went to Ayr United took us to Austria as well. What's going on there? I know, taking that group of boys to Austria, and a nightclub, and Dino had a full head of hair, and we were in a nightclub, and 20 minutes later, where's Dino? Must be up to something. Came back through the door in the nightclub with a skinhead. Where did you get that? He just points and pushes put the thumbs up to him and all. What are you doing there? How can you go to a random pub in Austria? That's just, it was just bonkers. Good bonkers, but it wasn't like nasty, it was just good bonkers.
Brilliant. Aye, definitely. We've got time for a few fan questions. Wilson, how do you feel about Graham Alexander being appointed Motherwell manager?
Well, I think it's quite an ambitious move, to be honest. I've actually just finished watching that third series of Class of 92. And again, I think he's got that still kind of wee angry Scotsman about him. It'll serve him well. I know a lot of folk on social media were pushing for him. If Alex Dyer was sacked, that Kelly should be looking at that kind of bracket. But I think he'll do reasonably well. He's got no bad pedigree, and obviously as a player as well. I say Motherwell, we kind of mentioned this last week. Motherwell have got actual no bad squad on paper. Mm-hmm. I think January is going to be very important for them as well. And I say I think he'll do reasonably well. Top 6, don't know. But they certainly won't be fighting relegation. I wouldn't have thought they'll leave that to St Johnstone and Ross County and Hamilton, I think. But a top 6, maybe just beyond them this season, but they could be a force if things settle.
Definitely. Shankers, how impressed have you been with Alan Forrest since he stepped up to the Premiership with Livingston?
I seen a couple of posts on Twitter and that today. I'm no surprised, to be honest. Like, he's kind of just took it in his stride. I knew he could play at that level. I was just surprised that he was at here for as long and nobody took a chance. I was surprised at Livingston, to be fair, the way Livingston played when they first come up, like with the big defenders, long throws, they play off dikes and that. But the way they play now can I suit somebody like the Alan style of playing. I'm not surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised if a year or two and he goes to a bigger club in Scotland or even a club down south, because he's only maybe 23, 24. So I don't think Livingston's the highest they can go. I think he can go higher than that.
Definitely. David, Scottish Cup, what was your tie of the round in the games yesterday?
It's got to be the Dundee one, isn't it? The Bonnie Rig in Dundee. I actually watched it, the full game, to be honest. I was working last night and I ended up just leaving 5 minutes, and then it was a good game. So it was that one. I think that was probably the only one I seen Cove. I fancied Cove to beat Alloa for some reason. Cove have got a good team. But no, that was a good game last night, and you felt sorry for them, didn't you? You always knew they were going to concede, to be honest. I know Charlie Adam, just his passing is frightening. He just
brilliant.
Piece delivery is incredible.
I know the opposition wasn't up too much, but it's just to keep that consistency, just passing, zinging about everywhere. It was good to watch. But I think I noticed today as well. Like, how is Alexander and Paul Hartley? How are they getting to go into the Aberdeen game? How can
I've seen that?
It's happened a few. I've noticed that at Kilmarnock. Like, there was a few when it was closed doors. Like Gary Holt, who was the Livingston manager at the time, was in watching the games and all that. Yeah. I don't know if there's a dispensation or something, but I don't agree with it either.
We should just watch the telly. If you want to get, that's it. We're in a pandemic right now. Just watching the telly. But just touching on the Livingston situation, they're on something on the new.
They're flying.
Nicky Devlin, Shanks knows as well. Nicky's at Rossvale. So I speak to Nicky all the time. I lean on him for a lot of things because he's playing the league and to help the young boys that we've got. So speak to him as well, and he's just like, they'll just keeping the heat doing well, and another 3 points a day. So he was saying about Alan Forrest, is like usually when they get maybe a goal up or 2 goals up, as soon as it is 50 minutes, no matter the time, if they scored in like 45 minutes or 50 minutes to make it 2-0, he's like, just Alan Forrest off, defend their own. He's like, that's really, he's like, it's effective football. We just take you guys off, put defender on and defend. So
that's the thing I hate about Rangers. If say like it's a 2-0 a day and then Tavs get caught away bombing forward and then they concede, like Rangers always play every minute of the game as if they're chasing the game and they need to win. Whereas I was saying before, one of the only times I've seen it come on, they took a midfielder, a striker off, put an extra defender on and went 3 big centre halves. I'm not saying do that today, but just kind of sit tight, keep your 2-0. At the end of the game, they're defending their box. But
Rangers always have the fallback of the referee being able to assist them in any way they can, like they've done last 21 games.
21 year, I thought you were going to say.
Oh, no, they died in 2012, remember?
Martindale's done well for them, so everything
definitely.
Do you not think though? Do you know David is? I don't know if you've been involved in that situation. I know, Mark, you've been at Talbot a long time, but does it riles me, and I'm a big fan of Gary Holtz. I don't hide that fact. But Gary struggled. I think it was 1-1 in 9, and then Gary resigns, and then they win. The same bunch of players. It's not as if they've been out and signed 5 or 6, and you know they've won. What's it, 8 in a row or something? With the same players. Now, he may have tweaked formation, he may have, moved 1 or 2 about, but see, to be honest, that's something like that stinks for me. I don't like that.
The thing I don't get, it's not as if he was at another team and they brought him in. He was still at the club as well, like, involved somehow. But it is, players, they get a lease of life when they're a new manager or whatever the reason may be. So I know what your point is, but I also get the fact that it's just something new and different.
It could be. I don't know. I obviously don't know what the issue is, but it could be something And the goal that sticks in my mind was the one against Hibs. I think it was Guthrie just launched the ball up the park and the boy Rawson nipped in goal. Could be something as simple as that. See, which this is what I go back to my players, and this is not me being horrible to them. See, you can't play football. See, when you get a ball, give the ball to him or get the ball to the park. It could be something as simple as stop trying to do things you can't do. Just get the ball up the park and we win games up there. I don't know. I'll need to ask Nicky and see what he's saying, but he'll not tell me. But it's just, it's some run they're on, and they've got Aberdeen next week. He was saying, I think he was telling me they've got Aberdeen, Celtic, and then the semi-final. So
well, 6 points in the bag for them. It's another 2 wins. No bother.
Aye.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's a hard place to go at the best of times with that part, but see now when they're on a run of form like that, there must be a serious threat to any team.
It's one of the only places Rangers have dropped points this year. You know what I mean? So
and the referee was sacked. After the game, sacked.
I can't say.
Brilliant. But that'll do us for this week. I want to thank Wilson and Shankland as always for coming on the show. Their excellent opinions. It was very, very good as usual.
Thanks very much, Scott.
Somebody asked me to ask Gormley about his the penalty save in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. Never that one.
That was good. What a game that was. You were there with Shankland?
Aye.
What a game that was. That's the thing. Obviously, when I was at Alloa, our keeper got sent off and I had to get goals in the Scottish against Hamilton. And one of the Pychow, was that their name? The Pixel or Pychow twins, remember them?
Aye, the twins, aye.
They were playing. Simon Menton, he missed the penalty, and but the one at Talbot was brilliant. You see the videos online, and it's everybody's moaning and I'm off my line and that. But see, the big Andy gets sent off, and I think it was 3-1 up. It was 3-1 up for the first
3-1 in the first leg, aye.
And then Andy gets sent off in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes or something, whatever it was, early on, and I go in goals, and then so I saved the penalty, and then Bobo, his brother Sparky, was the centre half for us at the time, and he's like, just stay in the line. This ball comes in, I'll head it. I'm like, corner comes in, he gets caught under it, bang, goal. I'm like, what are you doing?
See, at that point, but everybody feared the worst, I think, just because 10 men and then Big Andy sent off a player in nets. You came into I remember Sean Higgins had to get nets when we played Jews up there, and no one is you're like, shoot on sight and everything. But
for me, I try and get my goalkeepers in it. It's go and play like. Andy was Andy Tucker was having kittens, man, because I was getting the ball off Popey and I was doing it, and I go kicks and I was just doing it. I was getting Sparky. Like, what are you doing? But I was playing like a sweeper. It was good. And then obviously Milky scored for the halfway line. Butch scored for a corner. You're like, what is going on here?
Just meant to be.
So that was, and obviously the final. It was good too. That was a semi, so.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many memories down at Talbot, to be honest with you, and so many good memories. And Beechwood playing down there was phenomenal. In front of the fans, they were a 13th player, to be honest. They were right on the case, and they would praise you to the hill, man. See as soon as they loved you. See after the game, if you scored and you obviously match on or not, you were in that social club and they gave you a clap, and clapped you in. It was just silly things that you're like, that is incredible. I've been at other. I don't know what else to talk about names, but I'll say Paul. You're at Pollock and you go into the social club and there's 2 guys and a dog and you're like, that's the Talbot is a proper team, a community, and that's how they're so well. And that's you put that effort in and you get it. So, it's good.
But it's been brilliant to have you on, David. I can't thank you enough for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. That'll do us for this week. We'll be back next week as always with another episode. But again, thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.